Hey everybody, Stuart McAdam here, and we're answering digital marketing FAQs. A couple of them have been put forward to me this week on Quora and a couple of other platforms. People have written in, left comments on various platforms that I've got a social media presence on. So let's have a look at a couple and see what people are asking. Okay, so first question is, what is something that businesses don't really understand about customer service? That's a really good question. I think the most important one is that there's never really a clear-cut answer to someone's unique needs. So a lot of the time, if somebody is calling in to report a problem, so say, for example, it is their internet's not connecting properly, very often they're not always looking for the end solution straight away. They're looking to see how you listen to them, engage what their personality is like, so that you can communicate with them in a manner that they truly understand and can appreciate. So I would say that would be the biggest one, is there's no clear cut, you can't answer robotically, is I guess the main thing I'm coming at. You've got to gauge what the personality of the person is that you're speaking to, and then you've got to operate your answer, or sort of put together an answer from that. So next question is moment marketing just a fancy word, or is it something every digital marketer should really know about? I would say it's just a fancy word, not really something that is going to stick long term. Next question is, how do I advertise my business coming soon? Well, I would say to have if you're building out a website, then have a coming soon page for your homepage. That would be the first thing. Start promoting your business on LinkedIn, social media. Try and build up a bit of a following amongst people, even if it's just your family and friends, or whether it's a wider community of people. And really just start to showcase the benefits of your product, because if you're doing that, then you're really giving yourself a massive advantage. So I'd highly recommend that. Next question is it okay for a digital marketer that's a freelancer to work for 2 or more rival companies? I would say no. And the main reason I say that is you don't want to create a conflict of interest, and you don't want to create friction between companies. I would say the best thing that you could do as a freelance digital marketer is to have a hard, clear rule that you take on one client per industry, per country, and stick to that. And if the client's international, then you just stick with that client in that industry, sort of on an international basis, because you're going to run into a lot of problems if someone finds out that you're working for one of the competitors, and you'll find yourself in a lot of hot water, and you actually might end up losing not just that client, but the other clients as well. Next question, how can a digital agency make their social media pages interactive? Well, I would say ask questions to your audience and boost those questions, like sort of create an ad that sort of boosts the engagement, get people to ask questions. I would say to have polls, have competitions, and just provide content that is useful and informative, and get people's feedback, and actually respond to that feedback as well. Because the more interactive you are with people that are engaging with your page, the more likely you are to have that page that is, sort of very interactive. And look at some of the most successful YouTube channels, some of the most successful Facebook pages from companies. That's very often people that are responding to comments and that are engaging with the audience and wanting to get their feedback. So that'd be my advice. Next question is, what is the most used digital marketing hack know-how? I've answered that a couple of times before, but it's worth answering again. It's providing an effective solution to a problem and being able to communicate that effectively. So if you're able to do that, then you've given yourself a massive advantage over the competition, and that's something that is really going to benefit you in the long term. So I'd say being able to effectively communicate the solution that you can offer to a common problem in the marketplace. Next question is, where can I find a good email marketing system? Well, it depends what industry you're in. It depends who you're targeting. It depends if it's B2B or B2C, or like if it's sort of e-commerce, if it's manufacturing. It's whether you're promoting a webinar. It all depends. I would say there's a couple of people that you could probably look at. Go check out Jenna Kuchar. She's pretty good. And maybe just sign up to some of these people's email lists that you're on, that you see on Facebook all the time. People that are saying, I'm giving you my email marketing list, or come join me, and have a look at what their free email workflow sequence looks like, and just save all of them and then put them into a question. Right, so next question is, how can I be more consistent in sending marketing emails to my potential customers? Well, the biggest thing is to set yourself not deadlines, to set yourself minimum expectations. So if you say you want to send between 10 and 100 emails a day, chances are you're more likely to sort of send 10 or maybe a little bit more than 10. So if you consistently make the commitment to sending 100 emails a day, then your chances of getting somewhere and sort of growing and promoting yourself and reaching your potential customers is a heck of a lot greater. So I'd say just set the standards really high and have a minimum viable number of emails that you want to send each and every day. Next question is, how do you implement direct marketing principles in email marketing? Well, I'm not going to answer that one because I don't think it's a very effective use of actually email marketing. I think email marketing should be designed and developed to nurture your potential clients and not be not market to them in a sort of direct and sort of invasive way. Next question is, how is digitized global digital marketing services? I haven't heard of their digital. I have heard that their digital marketing classrooms are great. I haven't done any of their digital marketing classrooms, so unfortunately I can't comment on that one. What are the steps? Next question is, what are the steps to take to become a digital strategist? Well, first thing is understanding what market you want to specialize in, or what type of marketing you want to specialize in would probably be the first thing. If you want to specialize in a number of different disciplines or work across a number of different industries with different people, figure out what those people look like. Start learning those skills that are required in digital marketing that you want to offer to companies and people. Have a look at your specific framework of marketing. How would you describe yourself? Are you someone that is more technically gifted? Are you someone who's more creatively gifted? And that will influence as well, sort of like areas that you could probably specialize down in a little bit more, because if it's the technical side of things, it's you sort of working more on implementation, whereas if it's the sort of branding and creative side, it's probably the sort of strategy and creating that customer persona, so to speak. One of the best things that I ever did was get some social media lessons with a digital marketing company in Auckland called Ad Hoc, run by Andrew Ferdinando and Dominic Hay, and they're quite different guys. So Andrew is definitely the more technical person, and Dom's definitely more the creative branding type of person. And I actually work with both of them in different areas to understand and really sort of get a comprehensive understanding of how to target effectively from a customer perspective, like understanding the language and the lingo that's used based on the buyer persona, and also how to implement that as well with retargeting and with lead generation and that sort of thing. And that proved to be immensely valuable in helping take my understanding and knowledge from a sort of moderate to competent knowledge to a sort of advanced knowledge. So that would be my advice, is sort of try and engage with some experts as well. Understand where you want to be and understand your sort of gifts and skill sets and who your target customers are. If you can do those things, then you're on your way, and you've got a very good chance of succeeding over those who don't know what those things look like for them. Next question is, what are some tricky campaign tactics in digital marketing that help businesses to reach out to perfect buyers or partners? I wouldn't say anything's really sort of tricky. I mean, you want to make sure that what you're offering is something that just works. And a lot of that, it's not tricky. It's more sort of, say, smart and effective ways of reaching out to perfect buyers or partners is really just doing your market research and having a look at what people's core problems are and learning how to speak a language that they can understand. Because if you were to say to a tradesperson, I'm going to grow and develop your business through search engine optimization, Facebook lead forms and that sort of stuff, many of them are going to look at you and scratch their heads and say, what on earth is that? So you need to be able to say, going to help you grow your business online by helping you show up on page 1 of Google if someone searches for local builder, for example, or builder in name of your city, country, state, local area. And it's really about sort of making sure you take advantage of the free digital marketing tools that are out there, because there's a lot. There's Google My Business. I personally have underutilized Google My Business, but I've got friends and I've got customers that have done Google My Business for who have seen amazing success just by spending a bit of time optimizing their Google My Business account or hiring someone to do it for them. And that goes such a long way. One friend gets about 3 to 5 leads a week just from Google My Business. So have a look into that. Have a look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a brilliant platform. I've personally used LinkedIn to great effect for public relations and built up a very formidable network of connections with journalists throughout the world. So every time there's an story opportunity, I'm able to get in touch with them straight away on LinkedIn or through the email address which they've shared. So have a look at those two things right there, Google My Business and LinkedIn, because just using those, it's tactics that take a bit of time to build up and grow and develop, but once you've got it going, it grows itself on autopilot. Okay, so the next question is, what is the best opening line of any marketing campaign? That's a good question. I would say it's anything that can get a person's attention straight away. So if you're saying something that is controversial, or a picture of someone that inflames strong emotion, or you're doing something that evokes a strong emotional response, then you're likely to get someone's attention a lot faster than you would if you just sort of had, we offer this service and that service and the next service. Next question is, what are current research topics in marketing strategy? I'm not sure. You could probably Google that. I might just Google that right now. Key research journal. So some of the current stuff that's going is advanced marketing strategy research. So it's sort of having a look at the modern uses and techniques that people are using to gather market research, because with the way that technology has advanced in the last 25 to 30 years, pretty much like sort of in my lifetime, the way in which they're doing market research has changed rapidly. So a lot of the current techniques and methods are being used in a very different way. And it was saying in this research here, it's looking at the efforts that people have been making to sort of advance the strategy. So you're looking at the strength and expertise of getting market research through the use of broad databases, and having a look at the objectivity of it and being able to sort of scope it out depending on the average age and demographic and regional location, and how modern research is really assisting in that and helping to narrow down the scope a lot more too, and looking at the incentives that people are offering in order to make their research as accurate and as trustworthy as possible. So that seems to be the big thing that's going on at the moment. So I would check that out. I'm going to put that link in here right now into the comments section, so you can have a look at it right there. So hopefully you find that useful. Next question is, what are the current research topics? No, I've answered that one. What is your main weapon in marketing strategy in 2020? Using platforms, using LinkedIn is my secret weapon. As a form of branding, as a form of reaching out to people, connecting with people in terms of creating new business opportunities, LinkedIn has been fantastic, and I can't recommend it enough. It's a platform that was designed for people to connect in business, and there's no tool that is more effective and more targeted than that I can find on the internet right now. I may be wrong. If you disagree with that, maybe just leave a comment and say and paste the link into the comments section and say, like, this platform is better than LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to be corrected, but right now I'm pretty convinced that LinkedIn's is a very good weapon for any business to be using. Next question is, should you hire a marketing agency or a marketing person to improve your sales? Yes. And the reason I say that is, if you can hire the right person, they'll save you a lot of time and money, and a lot of frustration of not hitting the right target client and not being able to communicate the right message to your target buyers. Next question is, what are some examples of companies trying too hard to appear friendly in order to get business? Ooh, that's a good question. Banks would be one. You have a look at the advertisements which a lot of banks put out, and they come across as these people that are sort of this warm, open, friendly environment. But when it comes down to the crunch, sometimes they're not always on your side. So it's very difficult to actually sort of see appearance from reality. And their customer service, especially for the larger banks, is not always very effective. I'm not going to go into details on sort of specific banking messages and stuff, but if you have a look at research, I'll see if I can find it right now, actually. It was customer service. And it's looking at which companies are the worst for customer service, and I'll post it in here. It's sort of a very specific one on banks that are ranked best and worst for customer service, and even just by industry as well. Which customer is worst by industry? Just Google that right now. So it's looking at, government offices. That's definitely a huge one as well. Like, they're definitely quite poor. And then internet and cell phone companies as well seem to be quite bad. I've read quite a few articles just in different marketing ones, which talk about how many tens of millions of dollars banks are spending every single year to try and improve their customer service. So that's the link there about worst ones by industry. I'll see if I can find another one as well, because that's definitely a great question. It's actually, CBS News. I think that's the one that I came across. When was that? 2011. Yeah, that was my first year at university. There was one lecturer that was talking about the downsides of being a large company, and he gave an example of the customer service aspect of it. So having something like, sort of an industry where you've got, say 50,000 employees or even 5,000 employees, the amount of things that you've got to keep tracking along and keep consistent. So if you have a look at banks, they've got huge databases of people's information that's got to be kept private. They've got a large amount of money that's flowing around in their system that needs to be tracked and accounted for. And they've got CRM systems. They've got a whole range of employees. They've got different levels of coding, customer service, marketing, sales, account relationship. It just, the number of aspects that they've got to keep account for just goes on and on and on. So yeah, as you can see, it's a big challenge when you're a larger company to sort of keep a track of that. So I would say to make sure that you're conscious that that's probably a big reason why it's done. And the best thing that they can do is to actually just pump more money into customer service, and better yet, actually just paying customer service people more money, because they've got to put up with a lot of the stuff. And in many ways, they actually are representing the bank and the government office and the business. If it's an online business, every single time they're answering the phone. So the more that you can have a quality customer service team, then the more likely you are to do well. Next question is, do employers have to accept phased return to work? Well, if it's in your contract that you got full-time hours, then you could probably dispute and challenge that. If there is a clause saying that they've got the legal authority to scale back on hours if times are tough or whatever that might look like, I'm not a legal expert, then you're probably going to have to speak to your legal attorney about that and see what the situation is. I'd highly recommend anyone that's unsure about that sort of thing or wants sort of like a bit more sort of security and stability is to go and join a work union. Some of them are absolutely fantastic in terms of the support and resources they provide for their members. Other ones are very effective too, just in creating a community of people where ideas can be shared. And it provides a lot of bargaining power if memberships of unions are quite strong. And I say that as someone who is potentially going to employ sort of people very soon. I think being part of a workers' union of some kind is a very good idea. Next question: is it possible that someone does not have a passion? Is it possible that someone does not have a passion? That is why he or she is not able to find it. No, everybody's got a passion for something. If you were to have a look at your life and think about the things that make you happy and make you excited, it's very rare if you can go through absolutely everything, because there is an unlimited number of passions which people can have, and the amount of the amount of excitement or sort of satisfaction that you gain from those passions is quite high. And you just got to keep looking until you find it. It doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that you haven't found it there yet. Yeah. Well, I hope everyone's finding this useful so far. If you are, maybe just sort of leave a thumbs up or say everything's going well. Sorry, I'm not actually feeling too well today. I'm actually feeling incredibly tired. I'm probably going to go have a rest after this. So forgive me if the sort of level of engagement is not what it normally is. So the next question is, how do I list freelance work on LinkedIn? There's a navigation board. I'll just go to the LinkedIn page now, just so I can sort of guide you through it. So what you do is you've got to go to your main LinkedIn section. There's a little sort of 9 squares thing next to your profile, and it's called work. You just click on that, and then it's got visit more LinkedIn products, and you can post a job there. You've got to have LinkedIn Talent Solutions sort of access. So you do have. I don't know whether or not that's paid, but then it's it's something which you've just sort of got to go and figure out. It's easy enough to go and post a job up there, and find out more about it. But with that said, just be sure that you can find the right talent on there. Sometimes you don't have to be on YouTube to be getting that kind of not YouTube, on LinkedIn. You can easily post on job boards elsewhere at little to no cost, because I'm not sure whether or not LinkedIn is charging people. So next question is, what is your best advice in growing a business through direct sales? Are there any tips or tricks to gain more sales and add more people to your team? Well, I would say the best thing is to figure out what those problems of the market are reasonably quickly, and start working on developing a blueprint and framework for those, and answering common objections which people have if you are doing direct sales, whether that's cold calling or pushing a product straight off the bat. Because if you're able to include those key pain points and gain points, then hey presto, your chances of converting people are going to be a lot better. Next question is, I want to do an online job. I'm a medical student who can manage social media editing and even dress designing. Is there anyone who can help me in getting a job? Look, I'd say to that person, it's a good question. Go out there and create an profile on Upwork, Freelancer, and all these other platforms that allow you to get remote work. That's probably one of your best chances of getting there, and just showcase some of the things that you can do, even if it's just managing a friend's social media account, a friend's business or family member's business. Just get some small level of experience and work your way up from there. Next question is, what is a sustainable business strategy? Do you want the long answer or the short answer? A sustainable business strategy. I'm actually going to pull up Mark Cuban's one. Cuban sustainable business. So Mark Cuban had a quote a while ago, which was talking about how you can build, how if your business is not scalable, then you've really just end up with a hobby. It's just not actually a business. It's just a hobby. I can't find the quote immediately right now, but it's something that I would say is sort of very effective. Like, you've got to be able to measurably grow it. And you've got to be able to prove that every time you add something to the business that it's going to benefit it. So if you're doing marketing, and that's kind of like the oil, the oil for the engine, helps it sort of grow and go forward to new heights. If you're taking on a new employee, that they're able to add value that's measurably greater than the investment that's being put into them. If you are looking at adding marketing software as part of your business, then that has got to be adding immensely greater value for your business. If you are doing anything else, if you are going to conferences, if you are networking, it's got to be provable that it is benefiting your business and it's sustainably helping it grow. So that would be how you would have a sustainable business strategy, is being able to effectively measure the benefit and the growth that every action that you take adds to your business. Next question, is LinkedIn helpful or effective for a media business? If yes, how? Got to try and get some more information on that one. No, there's no extra details there. Well, if you're a media business, it depends. I mean, it depends what they mean by media business. If you're talking about like a news station or a podcast or whatever, or a magazine, then yes, absolutely, it is. It is very effective because you can connect with people in a much more deliberate and intentional way. If it is so you're talking about social media, then that really depends on what your targets and objectives are. Next question, do you have an email where you can be reached privately for a business collaboration? Yes, I do. Anybody who wants to get in touch with me can do so by going to my website and hitting the contact me section. Or if they want to email me directly, look, I'm just going to chuck my email into the comment section now. That's just something which is, I think should be pretty standard for someone who is looking to build and grow their business. If your business is at a level where you're making high 6 figures, 7 figures and beyond, then look, I can understand if you wouldn't want to share your email or contact information. But look, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos still has his email publicly available to people that want to make complaints or sort of have frustrations with Amazon's thing. And although he may not answer every email, he will forward it on to one of his team and it'll get answered. So I would definitely say that having that sort of information available in some capacity, whether it's your own personal email or whether it's someone else's, does provide benefit of some kind. Next question is there an application to find registered accounts on all social media with a single email? I'm sure there is, but I don't know what the software is to use for that. Next question. There's a service that posts your letters 1 year after you sent it. If you were to use it, who would you send it to and what would you write to that person? I'm not going to answer that. It's not really related to business or marketing. Who is the world's best marketer? That's a pretty poorly worded question because there's different types of marketing that are out there. So are you talking about someone who is in digital and social media marketing and email marketing and Google Ads marketing, LinkedIn marketing, search engine optimization, public relations? you'd have to sort of get down and become a bit more specific on that. Who answered that? Who asked that question? That was Mark. So yeah, Mark, you'd have to answer that and be more specific on that one. I can only give you examples of people that I've seen that do a pretty good job with digital marketing. One of them would be Sam Ovens on Facebook. He's very effective on that. King Kong, Sabri Subi, he's pretty good as well. I would say his biggest strength would probably be in email marketing and YouTube marketing. John Penberthy for YouTube marketing is brilliant. Probably one of the best I've ever seen. Email marketing, Jenna Kuchar, she's fantastic. I think she's very good as well with sort of that, really just creating that personality, this Facebook personality and Instagram personality. And she's quite a, probably to sort of steal a phrase, you'd probably call her like almost like the Zen master of social media when it comes to doing like live stuff. I haven't seen anyone who can match her in terms of charisma and energy and enthusiasm and that ability to sort of share her journey and also communicate effectively as well. So next question is, what are the best ways to create marketing strategies for your business? Look, there's a couple of ways. The biggest one is it's sort of like the standard strategy. It's pain point, solution that you offer. How do you communicate that with your potential client, and what is the end result going to be once the client has that solution? Are they going to be satisfied completely? Are they going to be satisfied partially? Does that satisfaction or happiness have to be renewed at a certain stage? How does that look? What's the lifetime? What is the lifetime value of a customer, and how long are you going to be working with them? Next question is, where does marketing in a business occur? It occurs at the early stage, so it's at that awareness and consideration stage. Once it goes beyond there, it's definitely more for the sales and customer service team and the sort of senior management team to sort of grow and develop that from beyond there. Next question is, I'm going to go to questions for me. How will you know if your brand and strategies are effective? They'll be getting results, and it'll be done in a cost-effective way that is helping your business grow or helping your client's business grow sustainably. So if you're spending more money than income that's coming in, obviously that's not a very effective or successful branding and strategy method. If you're doing it where it comes in well under and the ROI is 2 to 100,000 times the return on investment, then obviously it is a very good thing to do. Can you resell digital marketing SEO products? Of course you can. It just depends on your ability of how effective you are in marketing them. Next question. How do you figure out a company's marketing strategy? That's a good question. I would say the first thing you'd want to look at is to do some thorough research using marketing software on where that company's targeting a lot of their resources. So have a look at, do a couple of Google searches, see if they come up with various Facebook ads, have a look at their general content strategy, look at where they're sharing that content and try and determine from there where most of their priorities are, because there's normally going to be one or two areas where they'll focus on a little bit harder than the others. And then from there, you can kind of gauge what sort of pain points they're driving, what solutions they're offering, what their general strategy is to get new clients in and also maintain existing clients. This will be I'll do 3 more questions because, yeah, I'm really sort of starting to feel unwell now. So next question is, what are the disadvantages of working part-time? It's a career advice question. Look, the biggest one is that it's a lot, if you're trying to build your business out, it's a lot harder to do it if you're only able to dedicate, a couple of hours a week to it, whether that's 5 or whether that's, sort of 16 hours, 20 hours, let's say. A lot harder and a lot less effective than it would be if you're working the full 40 hours on building the business out. So that would be the first thing. Second thing as well is just, if you're doing a part-time job just in general, like cash flow is going to become much more of a challenge. And so is just general the value that you're adding to the organization that you're working at is going to be a lot less than if you were working full-time. Okay, so last 2 questions. What is your job? What hours do you work and do you like it? So my job is, I've got a company called Make Adam Marketing. I'll show you so you can see it right here. Go, pop it in there. My company is Make Adam Marketing. I've been doing that for 10 months now. Previously, I was working full-time at a social media marketing agency. And before that, I was working at a car lease and finance company for 2.5 years. I enjoyed both of those jobs, but I just felt like the calling was there to go out on my own and see how I go with running my own business. So what hours do I work? Well, I work pretty much Monday to Saturday. The hours on it vary quite a bit. Primarily working I work in chunks. So I'll work a couple of hours in the morning and a couple of hours in the afternoon, and then maybe 1 or 2 hours later on in the evening. And the sort of evening work's always the sort of less intense work. The hardest and work that requires the most thinking is in the morning. And do I like it? Yes, I do. I enjoy challenging myself, and I think having my own business and my own company has definitely challenged me to grow a lot as a person. It's certainly made me aware of just how much of a need there is for good marketing and good skill sets within digital marketing. And it's challenging as well, but you also get to grow and develop the businesses of clients that you work with. And at the end of the day, there's nothing more satisfying than that. So I'm going to leave that there, guys. Sorry, I haven't been well this whole video at all. Like, probably see I'm a bit pale and not feeling well at all, but I hope you found this immensely valuable. And this is something where, I'm sort of doing it to sort of help people get answers to their questions and make sure that they can get a comprehensive understanding of the different aspects of digital marketing. From my perspective, I've worked in this field for 6 years now, and it's been something that is, as an industry, that's changed an awful lot over the last 6 years, and into the next 6 years, it's going to change an awful lot again. So the biggest piece of advice I can give to anybody is just make sure that you're prepared to adapt to the changes in the market and make sure that you are constantly upskilling yourself and doing courses with different types of marketing, especially the areas that you specialize in, because nothing stays stagnant. Everything sort of builds up and continues on. So if you found this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just make sure you tap the bell icon. I try and do at least one new video every week. Ideally try and do more, but digital marketing FAQs, I'll sort of do this every sort of couple of weeks, because there's a lot of questions that come in from people all the time, and that's something which is always going to be there, because businesses are starting up all the time and people are always looking for ways to sustainably grow their business as well. So I'll leave that there. I'm going to go have a rest now. So thanks very much for your time, and we'll catch you in the next video.